Jeff, and we are back, and I'm joined as usual by my good buddies Richard
Hello.
and Michael.
Howdy.
These guys, it's so nice to see your faces, boys.
Oh.
I missed you. And I think I'm sure our listening and viewing audience missed us. Don't answer that, folks. Don't answer that.
That's a rhetorical question, everybody.
Yeah. Your voices are music to my ears, and maybe that's a hint at the topic. Michael, will you tell us what the topic is? Turn off the music.
Yeah, I don't. That's a song I don't need to hear again. The original topic is Mount Rushmore of songs I never need to hear again, and somehow in our Facebook little group, it got kind of bastardized to great songs I don't need to hear for a while. But in my head, it's just songs I just never need to hear again. So whether they are great or not to you, the listener, or to me, or to Richard, or to Jeff, I guess it's all kind of moot. Mm-hmm. But there's one song in particular which kind of kicked it off for me, just like a song that has been playing almost nonstop for all of us since the kind of early 80s, that really just is like, I got it. I understand why it was popular. I understand the appeal to it. I'm done. It no longer, if I was on, it's like a reverse Desert Island disc song. Mm-hmm. Like if I was on a desert island and I never heard the song again, I could just, I'm good. It will always be with me in my head, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just think that there is an interesting way that songs, whether they're great or not, can either become earworms or become so affecting to you in a certain way that you're just like, no, I'm good. I'm done. I'm done with it.
Yeah. I feel like there's an implication. So if one had heard a song once or none, it would not, you would not be sick of it, right? So I think
no, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there are some songs that I'm sure if I put my mind to it to think about being like, I got it.
Yeah,
I'm good. We're never again.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe we were discussing off mic the Mandela effect, how sometimes our topics kind of evolve through rephrasing, and I think maybe my presumption was, if a song becomes prominent in the pop culture, then it is through repetition that you become familiar with it and then become annoyed with it, perhaps. So whether it is enjoyable to you or not, you may have heard it prominent. It took a prominent spot, and that's made me, maybe that is the contempt you have bred from familiarity by hearing so much. But yeah, maybe it doesn't bear that much analysis. We jump right into it. And Richard, what's your first one?
All right, so my first one, and I kind of stuck more with the evolved version of this. So these are all songs that I don't necessarily hate. Some of them I like. Some of them I've liked quite a bit for a long time. But they're just this one was the one that made me think about the tweak to the topic specifically, or think about the topic specifically. Dear God by XTC.
Oh wow! Oh, that's an interesting choice.
Loved that song when I was a kid. Was one of my gateways into the band, which was my favorite band when I was in high school. And I'm good with it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those songs where I think partially it's overexposure. If you listen to the Sirius XM First Wave app or the station, you will after a while start to think to yourself, guys, XTC had more than 2 songs. There's more than this, and Since is working overtime. There's a whole range of albums you could choose. You could select songs from, and they're all great songs. So why do we have to fixate on this one? Well, it's because it's one of the songs that broke through into the larger commercial zeitgeist, I guess. And it touches a nerve with a lot of people. I think we've discussed this on the show before, just sort of being one of those songs that if you're somebody who are of a certain age and maybe fell out of religion or kind of your views on a lack of religion crystallized at a certain point of your life, the song may have been part of that awakening or those sort of reinforcing those feelings that you had. Doesn't mean it's and maybe this is where the I don't know that it's my favorite XTC song, just as a song. There are certain things about it where I'm like, as soon as I hear the first little, like, guitar part, the ding, ding,
Mhm.
ding, ding, and the little kid's voice starts in. And I know Andy Partridge, the singer and songwriter of the song, has said he was never really comfortable with having the little kid on the kid's voice starting off the song. And it is kind of a little bit of nails on chalkboard.
Hmm.
There is an element of that feeling like you're about ready to hear someone break into "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow"
Mhm.
or something like that. So that I don't think helps. And, while I think it's a great song, I think the lyrics are a little on the nose. I don't think it's the most subtle take on the topic, and so maybe that doesn't help with hearing it after the 50th or 60th time, kind of feeling like, "Okay, I got it. Yeah, you don't believe in God. Got it." So, this was the song that even though I love the band, if I hear it come on the radio, I'm, at this point, pretty likely to change the channel and see what's
Mhm.
going on in this oldie soul station or something like that.
Mhm. I feel like you've tapped into one of the things that I respond to in music is a little bit of the embarrassment of a posture that that music enabled me to take. Like this was from my
Yes.
fake punk period, or this was from my suburban um, rebel period.
Yes.
Yeah, XTC. In a way, I'm somewhat proud that I was part of that I was questioning the things that were being handed to me, and somewhat kind of embarrassed at maybe the ham-fisted way that I was doing it. You know, did
Yeah.
it have to be at Christmas in front of grandma? You know?
Yes. Yes, the
Yeah.
sort of the rebellious youth where you look back on it now and you go, "Oh, what an asshole I was.
Yeah, yeah. All the
Just
all the
what a jerk."
all the very kind people who were going, "That's nice, sweetheart. Just just
Yeah, just
finish your turkey."
yes, exactly.
I do, I do wonder is, one thing I listened to that song, and this is for a lot of, I think, alternative rock. Like, if you listen to REM, REM was so that song is the Run Grid production of that album, um, is so clean and polished in a way that it's almost embarrassingly traditional, that song.
Right.
It's got a string quartet, I think, in it. So in a way, it's a "F you, we're doing something edgy here," in one of the most kind of formulaic, traditional kind of
Ways
ways
that
you
you
could.
could possibly do it, and it's a
Yeah,
very the production of that album is very specific. I mean, it sounds like every Todd Rundgren production that's ever been made, like you
yeah,
said, very clean, very crisp, to the point of being almost too much,
yeah,
and it's very even though it's a very 60s influenced album, it still sounds very 80s to me.
mhm,
So there's, I think, an element of that to it as well. But yeah, I just think that it's just one of those songs where you're supposed to connect to people through this song. Like, oh man, I loved that song when I was 15 or something like that.
yeah,
And I think you're absolutely right. In a lot of ways, it's like I think back of who I was when I was 15, and it's kind of all like a little
yeah,
embarrassing.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
for
kinda
sure.
like, I'm not gonna wear my Doc Martens anymore either.
Yeah, exactly. I don't put Manic Panic in my here
Yeah.
47. I
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah. All right, Michael, what do you got?
My first song is "Rhapsody in Blue" by George Gershwin. No, I'm
Ah,
kidding.
You know, what a fucking so get out of here.
what a hack.
What's he doing? How are you? No, my first song is the one that really inspired this topic in the first place, which is "You Spin Me Round" (parentheses) like a record
Ah,
by Dead or Alive, which over the years has just become such a vapid non-song to me. Everything about it I'm so bored with, from just the lyrics Yes, a record does spin around. Yes, just like that. Um, that it has become this weird, like, I don't know, idealize or ideal version of like how crappy music in the 80s was. It just doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean
Mhm.
anything. It's just a dance song that I just can't stand to hear anymore. It's that earworm that just like has dug. I mean, look at this. This is quasi pirate. I mean, this looks like if you're looking on the YouTube show, the lead singer of Dead or Alive looks like a character from Our Flag Means Death or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I this song is like there's a lot of like bad songs from the 80s. Like I could hear Mickey by Tony Basil 100 million more times than I could hear this song. And that song fucking sucks. But
Mhm.
this song but this song for whatever reason, I think it's the repetition of it. I think that has nothing to say. I think it is so uninteresting, but it is so immensely popular and speaks of the time that where some of this music really meant nothing. It was all dance, it was all pop, it was all like new wave, whatever. It just drives me up the wall. I can't hear it again. I'm not traumatized. What's the opposite? I'm just like thrashing out at the world against you spin. Oh, Jeff, you need to put the parentheses like a
Right
record
round. Oh, like a
after
record.
after
Oh,
the end because then you don't know the full name of the song and it's pure and uh, it's the great
sorry.
value that it has added to the world. Because if we don't know that if a record spins around, then how will we know
Yeah.
how they spin you? God, I hate this song.
This is looking up, lead singer, Pete Burns. It said, often referred to as the king of punk. What?
By who?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
By Pete Burns.
yeah.
By Pete Burns.
Hmm.
That is dance pop at the most. Wow, that's so
Vapid.
funny. That's so funny.
Yeah, there's
I don't know.
nothing
It's
punk about this song.
no.
No, I mean that's a lie on multiple accounts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yikes.
Okay, well, so wait a second, Michael. What did you
Yeah.
think back in the day? Did you think it was
Well, okay.
great?
I grew up listening to um in my early formative years, it was all like Chipmunk Punk and the
Oh,
soundtrack
sure.
to Stand By Me. And by the time I got to like, like junior high and high school, like it was like on the edge of like the alternative scene, listening to,
Mhm.
what have you, Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl
Yeah,
Jam and Nirvana and a myriad of other, K rock bands. But the thing is, like listening to K rock, like especially on like the summer or the winter or on weekends, like there was a flashback lunch every
mhm.
day at noon. I don't think it was Rodney that was doing it. I can't remember who used to do it. It was like a British guy.
Was it
Rodney certainly
was
was.
it Richard Blade?
Thank you, Richard Blade. Richard Blade's flashback lunch, where it's like an hour and a half, and it was all like 80s stuff. So there was just this constant like drumbeat or
Yeah.
synthesizer of like just 80s music 80s music
I kid you not,
Jeff's
that's
doing
Pete
something.
Burns today. That is
Hmm.
same.
Madonna is
That's
Pete Burns, same person.
same person.
There was just this constant like drum beat. So like the 80s like never really left.
Yeah.
Like there was like I have like this huge gap of musical lack of knowledge which lasts from like 1970 to like
Mhm.
1977, where there's like 7 to 10 years of music that I just don't know. But
Yeah.
all this crap from the 80s was just always just present. And
Yeah.
so a song like this would just be like it would just pop up every, you know, 3 to 9 days. And you'd hear something like this. You'd hear it always, or you'd hear like um I think they even did like in I can't remember what other radio station is, but there was like a Friday 80s night that from like 8 to 10 it was just all 80s music. So
Mhm.
like invariably the song just never left your life. You never
Yeah.
got the chance to be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that song." It was like it was always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the song just even just like the chorus of it. It's just you just keep saying round, round. You spin me like a record, round, round, like a record, baby, round. And it's just like, I get it. I get it. Get me off this turntable, Jane.
I'd be curious. I imagine many of the songs that maybe we may choose today, the artists don't wanna play them either. Like, "Oh,
Right.
please, God save me from this song."
Yeah, I
Uh,
can see that too. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, Richard, what's your next?
My second choice, and this is, even though Michael says he has a pop culture musical blindness to most of the
Mm,
70s, I believe this is one that broke through. And I'm going after some of them. Going after sacred targets here, guys.
Oh, wow, alright.
okay.
Bohemian Rhapsody
Oh,
by
wow,
Queen.
okay, yeah,
I can understand that. I
It's
get it.
it
I get it.
I appreciate the song.
yeah,
It's never connected with me personally. I it it, it it's I like Queen a lot, and there are a lot of Queen songs I really, really like, and this isn't one of them. So the fact this is the Queen
mhm,
song that everybody knows and that
Yep.
everybody sings along to, and that everyone does at karaoke, and that everyone, when it comes on the radio, has to do the 4-part harmonies or whatever, has just always frustrated me
mhm,
a little bit because it's bloated. It's lyrically doesn't make any sense, which is fine because 90% of pop/rock songs don't make any sense. But when it starts off with your protagonist, i.e., the person you're supposed to be rooting for,
Mm,
admitting to capital murder,
yeah,
we're in trouble with this song from here if we're
yeah.
supposed to be sympathizing with this person. I mean, literally, he confesses to a gangland style murder. He
Can you
put a
imagine his attorney just sitting there looking at him like, "What? What? We talked about this."
yeah, we talked about this at length. You're pleading the fifth, my dude. Seriously.
So you're
No,
saying it's hard to be on his side?
it's hard to be on his side. It's
Yeah,
hard to know what the song is. I mean, not only is the song not about anything, what it appears to be about is confusing, and it's just a lot.
yeah.
I'll say that.
Well,
Bohemian Rhapsody is a lot,
did you
and
also
if it's not connecting with you, it's also a very long song.
are you also saying Queen deserves better because they have other songs that are
Yes, and I
a
think
fire metal?
that can be a factor on why we think why we personally all have these songs that we don't need to hear for a long time. That we can maybe in 20 years, if I don't hear Bohemian Rhapsody, I'll listen to it again and go, "Oh yeah, yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time."
Yeah,
And maybe it's what Michael was talking about, the fact that a song like "You Spin Me Round," parenthetical like a record,
thank you.
never really went out of the public consciousness in the same way that Bohemian Rhapsody, even when it started to, then Wayne's World comes out,
mhm,
Yeah,
and then
I think that's the key
Popular, and then
aspect of it, is that it's not like this. I can't imagine that this was like the song that people wanted to hear when they went to go see Queen. Like when they went to go see Queen, like stomp around in concert and play like Fat Bottom Girls and
We Are the
like just
Champions or something,
We Are the
yeah.
Champ, like so many other songs that you'd want to hear that are these true great 4-minute songs or whatever.
mhm.
And then you have like this thing that's like this twinkling on the keys at the beginning, and it feels very like, I think there's an aspect of like the beginning of that song that's like boy, you've unzipped me, Richard. That like elements of like Spinal Tap, where he's sitting there like playing, you know, "Lick My Love Pump" and in like D minor, and like there's this element of like him like twinkling on the keys, and especially the video for it, and he's just like, ding, ding, and you're just like, oh, we get it, and then like it goes into this whole just ridiculous Italian,
Pseudo
non
opera thing, yeah.
pseudo opera thing, and I think that I can't imagine that this was a song that everybody was clamoring for uh, in concert. And then, of course, the pop culture phenomenon that was Mike Myers and Dana Carvey is just
Mhm.
like, oh well, they rejuvenated this band's career. They had, obviously, he died and all that stuff, but like, well, certainly, this was. I don't know. Maybe I too have a part of my '70s kind of lack of knowledge of how big Queen was. But I don't know. I think a very popular movie that really helped revitalize this one song in particular, you know.
Sure.
And then the biopic, I think, picked it up.
Yeah,
Or
then
yep.
it picked it up again, so it's never had
Mhm,
the opportunity to cool off.
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah. I I also sometimes for most things I dislike, I try to always remember this is my fault. I'm the only one griping here. There's people still playing this at stadiums and and loving it, but there's something that I resent the amount of overexposure, and I don't even think it's good for. It's unhealthy for the song. It's a great song taken in the right proportions.
Right.
Michael, what's your second one?
My second song is Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
Now, I think that this song lived within a very specific moment and spoke to a very specific feeling. And I think that even when it first came out, it meant one thing and people took it to mean another thing. And I don't think it's ever really a song that has ever really been able to really come to its true like understanding of like its working class
it's
blue
an
collar.
indictment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an indictment of America. It's not a celebration of America.
Mhm.
And uh I think about this song and I think I just don't want to hear it. I've got it. I understand. I just don't care for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a song
I
that
just Michael, I gotta be honest with you. You're the person who I would least see liking a Bruce Springsteen song out of anyone I know,
okay, thank
to be
well,
honest.
yeah, maybe.
I
I
don't
mean,
know what that says about you or Springsteen, but I just cannot picture
Mhm.
you, whether it's this or
I
Glory Days or I'm on Fire. I don't see you
none of it.
connecting with Springsteen.
Maybe it's just that none of it appeals to me and this is like his number 1 doesn't appeal to me song. Um, I think I I think about this song and I think about the movie Rambo, and I think
Mm.
that people think about Rambo in the way that they think about him in Rambo: First Blood Part
Yeah.
2,
Yeah.
Right.
Rambo Rambo 3, whatever. When the first Rambo was about basically like this character, this born in the USA sort of character that came back and was disrespected, and he's just trying to get through life, and everyone is tearing him apart, and he's a loner, and like this guy just needs a break. He's just trying to move through town or whatever. But this song just has so many other people have grafted so much onto it that
Mhm.
I can't I don't want to hear it. I can't stand his gravelly voice in it. I don't the sentiment is feels like it's lost or it's
Mhm.
shifted. And it's just uh maybe it's just because I, grew up in the valley and just I
Yeah.
just have I have none of those feelings associated with it that are supposed to be associated with it. I can understand it, but I don't care.
I think for me, as Springsteen's career, he'd evolved from a Dylan kind of imitator into a guy who kind of combined Dylan and Phil Spector into this guy who turned into like a beer commercial. And at that point, I remember thinking I was still new to him, but I'd heard Greetings from Asbury Park, and I'd heard these other records that had almost sound like it could have been a Van Morrison track or something, and I liked that stuff. But yeah, in MTV in this album, um, it just it just turned into a big NASCAR Budweiser
And yeah,
and
and I think there's still an aspect in like kind of current day politics where like you hear a song that say um, Donald Trump plays at like one of his rallies that is immediately like he gets like a cease and desist from
yeah,
the whoever's the person that wrote it, being like, you have no idea what the song's about. You hear the words USA in it or the word patriot or whatever it is, this whatever word that you've grafted onto that you've decided is about you when it has nothing to do with you or your beliefs or your politics. And this song just like lives in this kind of like cultural, I don't know, morass of just
mhm,
like, oh my god, it just doesn't like, and I just don't need to hear it.
yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better,
Well, he
here's
does look good. He does look good in a
that's
white
Bruce
shirt.
Springsteen today.
Oh
That's
my goodness.
Another Madonna
Oh,
picture. This is great jokes for our listening audience who aren't here, by the way.
well, I guess we should do a halftime since we rarely do it that much anymore. And I wonder if I can even play the halftime. Here's more music that you don't ever hear again. Just want to remind people that we're still a thing, the Mount Rushmore podcast, and we
no.
Yeah,
enjoy
please remind people of that.
in between catastrophic illnesses and homes being torn apart. That uh, we love talking to each other, and we love the listeners who take some time out of their day to listen to us. And we want to talk to you if you ever have a suggestion for a topic. Previous suggestors have ended up being on the show, and it was a lot of fun. So if you ever have a topic suggestion for the Mount Rushmore podcast, or even a suggestion as a person you think would be great on our show, send it our way through our social handles on X. They've changed names since the last we were
Yeah.
on, I think. X and Instagram and Facebook
And we're on Threads now.
we're on Threads. That's awesome.
So how about that?
Yeah.
Oh, we are.
Catching up to 6 months
Yeah.
ago.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't even looked at Threads or that account.
Or you can
But,
email us, mountrushmorepodcast@gmail.com if you'd rather send an
Yeah.
email our way.
Yeah.
Happy to read it.
Awesome. Okay. So we is back, and now Richard shares his third one.
My third one, I chose a song from this band, but really I could almost say this band just as a rule. But the song I chose is "Blister in the Sun" by the Violent Femmes.
Oh wow.
okay.
Um, I'm over Gordon Gano's voice. Just
Yeah.
in the same way that if Emo Phillips would have been a huge star and he would have been someone who you heard relentlessly throughout the 80s instead of this occasional voice that you heard on Comedy Central or VH1 or wherever,
Yeah.
you would have gotten sick of his voice too.
Oh, I love that comparison.
And also Blister in the Sun, and maybe this is, and I'm looking at my choices and they all seem to have one thing in common, which is some sort of like, whether it's guitar or piano, some sort of basic intro that, in this case with Blister in the Sun, it's got this very naive sort of guitar part at the beginning. And that's something that I think if you're listening on the radio and you've heard this song for the 5,000th time that it's come on First Wave or K Rock or wherever it happened, wherever, at this point, K Earth, because 80s are now oldies here in Los Angeles. So the oldie stations are playing new wave. So whenever you hear that initial sort of melody come on, whether it's the piano or in this case a guitar, it's a quick way to get me to go, nope, and just hit the change channel button almost immediately. And it's just, maybe there was a part, I'm sure I really loved this song for a long time. But it's just, this is one that falls definitely into the overplayed category. It definitely falls into this song and this band. You have to like a very specific style and genre and be willing to accept a certain singing style and a musical playing style that I'm just not into it, man.
Mhm.
And so, and this is one of those ones that if you're at a wedding or a party and those first notes hit, 80% of the people are gonna be, oh yeah, Blister in the Sun, all right. And I'm just sitting there going, oh, great, Blister in the Sun. And there's nothing like offensive about it. I don't feel the same way that Michael feels about Born in the USA about it.
Mhm.
This is one of those ones that I think would
communist
clear.
Mike, please.
Yes. Michael Winfield, the commie master over here. No, it's not one of those ones. It's one of those ones that I feel very strongly about. That if I just didn't hear it for about a year, I would probably feel much more open to hearing it again. But it's just I can't escape it. It's being played at football games and grocery stores and any place out in the public that you can hear a song, you can hear this, and it's on the radio all the time. And I'm good with it. We can take a time out on this song for a year, come back to it, see how it holds up.
Now, this is a very specific song, and they're a very specific kind of niche band. Do you feel that if you were to play this song to 80% of America, that they'd even know what this is, or any song from that first album? Because while we were sitting here, I was looking at like, I was like, okay, yeah, they had quite a few like songs that I enjoyed, and they were all from that first album. It was just called Violent Femmes,
Right.
and I can't think of a single song other than like 3 or 4 songs on that album by them. And I wonder if they fall into this. If you're into the Violent Femmes, you were listening to K Rock, right? Or whatever your local alternative station was, or whatever. Like, um, I just wonder at how new something like this would be to just the people en masse versus not a music
I
snob like you, but someone who
Oh,
definitely
please.
does listens to a lot more um, nuanced or varied things. I don't know.
No, I know where you're coming from. I think this is one of those songs that broke through in the same way that "You Spin Me Round" did.
Hmm.
That it kind of broke through the kind of like, this is a very alternative '80s sort of song. I could probably look up right now and find a dozen movies where this was on the soundtrack.
I guess that I think
You
that's
know
a
what I
super
mean?
fair point. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm just and again, maybe this is because I think there are better Violent Femme songs. Maybe I'm just sort of in the same way that I can understand why someone doesn't need to hear another They Might Be Giants song
Hmm.
again. Maybe it's the quirkiness of it
Yeah.
that is kind of off-putting to me, and I don't feel that way about They Might Be Giants, but with Violent Femmes, I do have that reaction. Excuse me. So when people say, "Yeah, I don't need to hear They Might Be Giants. I'm kinda good with them." I get it, even though I'm a fan of the band. I've never been one to try and push people like, "Ah, no, you need to try this album or this song because 'cause it'll really change the way you feel about They Might Be Giants." It's like, "No. They Might Be Giants have a very specific sound, and they're a very specific band, and if it's not for you, that once those 2 or 3 songs that you heard, chances are the rest of the catalog's not gonna be for you either, and maybe
Yeah.
that's just Violent Femmes for me.
Yeah, I I'm with you on that. For me, when it comes to punk, for some reason, I've decided that I can discern the fake from the real, which is bullshit. I don't know anything, but
Right.
like I feel like they're fake Midwestern punk, not real, or something. It just seems like, and that's my problem with him. And then I also think because his vocals are so distinctive, when I hear "Gone Daddy Gone," I feel like I'm hearing "Blister in the Sun." So
Right.
some of the other vocal it doesn't help for me that I feel like I'm hearing that same song all the time.
Or Add It Up or something like
Yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah.
And I also don't like the fact that Gordon Gano, tried to claim that the song is not about masturbation. It's like, "Come
Oh,
on, dude.
really?
Really? Who are we fooling here?"
So it could be, in a Wendy's commercial, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, so the fact that we could use this in Gross Point Blank.
yeah. Okay, Michael.
My third choice is a very personal one.
Oh,
It's the
wow.
song A Punk, A hyphen
Oh,
Punk by the band uh, Vampire Weekend.
Frankenstein Weekend.
And I really like this song. However, However, whenever I plug my phone into my car and play music, it is the first fucking song that comes on every time. And my car is set up for whatever stupid fucking reason to play the first letter A song, no matter if I have like a playlist playing before or anything. All I hear is this jangly. And
I
it's just like I got it. I'm never I can't hear the song anymore. And it has all to do with my car and the way it interprets the signal, taking it from iTunes through the cord, charging it up. and then A Punk starts blaring, and it's a function of my car, and it has nothing to do with the song or the band or how talented they are, or these weird rich kids from the Atlantic side of the ocean in America,
Mhm.
and songs about living in opulence and being college kids, and how wonderful their music is, and how it grows on you, and how strange it is at times, and they're so good. They're such a good band, but this fucking song comes on and it's like immediately skip, immediately skip, immediately skip. I can't hear it anymore. I'm done. I'm done with this song. I wonder if there's a music video for it that I haven't seen. I don't know. I'm not gonna fucking watch it. Maybe there is. I'm done. I cannot. Thank you, technology. I think we had uh a podcast where we talked about like how great some things were, and like I uh talked about how wonderful like the shuffle, the idea of the shuffle
Yeah.
on a CD player was this idea of shuffle just in iTunes. Boy, shuffle was made for me and not for this goddamn song, which plays every goddamn time I put my foot into the car. Just trying to charge my phone and listen to music. Not this song.
That's so funny.
Oh,
I had that with some, like it was like I don't know how I got it, but it was a Jimmy Buffett song that was on my on my phone or iPod. I could not I would just race
yeah,
my finger to the stop button.
it's amazing. It's how dumb. I mean, what just a dumb reason for a song to just. Can you imagine like just being like I keep coming back to this desert island motif, like someone picking you up, like a boat comes and rescues you, and you're just like, oh my god, so they're like, how are you? I was like, I'm good. I'm so hungry. I've been starving for people's attention. I've been starving for music. And then the first song they play is like A-Punk, and I would just be like, going back to the island.
Yeah.
I'm out of here because you're not offering me anything else.
He
See you
leapt
later.
out of the boat and guzzled water like you couldn't believe
I
with
jumped over the rear of the boat right into the propellers and got chopped up.
Have you thought about downloading a
Mm.
song like, I don't know, "A Place in the Sun" by Stevie Wonder? Just so you'd have a different song that would come on first every time to give you a
Uh,
break from A-Punk.
it's one of those things where I've almost gotten to the point where I just Bluetooth stream music to my car now instead
Mm,
of plugging it in just to avoid it. It's like my phone might write. I don't drive because of COVID and my job is at home now. I don't drive anywhere anyway these days.
yeah.
So like I don't have like this grand opportunity as much as I once did, like every morning, literally plugging my phone in. Uh, but it's a good idea.
Uh,
I love it.
I would opt to like rename it, but then I can't because it's
Oh,
still on
yeah.
iTunes. Fair.
I love the first world problems that we complain about on the Mount Rushmore podcast.
Sure, listening to good music too much.
Richard.
Alright, this one is very specific to me as well. I think it's because I go to a lot of soccer games.
Oh,
So if I have to hear Seven Nation Army
Okay, yeah.
oh,
anymore, I remember when that song came out. I don't know if you remember this, Michael, on our kickball team, the Awesome
I
Cowboys
remember,
team,
of course I remember.
that
How could
Scott
I not?
our team
Good friend.
captain, Scott Jones, was obsessed with this song and the fact that it was being played at soccer stadiums in Europe,
Yeah,
and tried to get someone to play the drums to it so we could sing along. And it
sure.
was a complete disaster, as most of the things that
Yes.
we tried was. Um, but it's a great song. Like, it's a great song. I love the White Stripes. Such a creative, inventive, powerful group. But I've heard the song now because of hearing it at soccer games a bajillion times roughly.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's such a basic song. And again, it's another one of those songs that starts off with a very distinctive riff at the beginning of the song. So when it first comes on your
Mhm.
Spotify shuffle or Sirius XM or wherever you're listening to it, you hear it. It's like, oh boy, here we go with this again. And I don't know. And again, maybe it's because there's better White Stripes songs, and this is the song they're going to be remembered by. Maybe that's a factor in it as well. I don't know, but it's just something about the doom 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 Maybe that's because that's pretty much all the song is. Maybe it's the fact that there's so much repetition within the song that even hearing it once, you feel like you've heard it a dozen times.
Mhm.
So then when you actually hear it for 500 times, it feels like you've heard it a 10,000 times. So no knock on Seven Nation Army. Great song. I'm good with it. We can take a break. We can find other songs to chant at soccer stadiums that have distinct. Maybe you can do "Dear God." I don't know. Doom 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 doom. Just chant that. I don't know. Let's find something else. Let's go through our stacks of records. Find a local DJ who can recommend something from the early 2000s. A Hive song.
Yeah.
Chant along to a Hive song. The Hives were great. They need more love. Let's make that a thing.
What did we talk about this track in another episode? I thought we gave it a lot of discussion in another episode. I searched our website at rushmorepodcast.com to see if I could find it, but I know we talked. Was it
We might have
Anthem?
been
Entirely
talking about the
possible.
White Stripes as a band, possibly, and
I
maybe
thought
not the song
it
specifically.
wasn't
But
music at stadiums, was it? Did we do a stadium rock?
did we do? Oh my God, this is 300 and however 60 episodes in. You're
Yeah.
asking me to remember if we did a Jock Jams. I think we did a Jock Jams
It's
episode.
like Letterman. Did I interview Kira Sedgwick? I think I did.
Right.
I think I interviewed Kira Sedgwick.
It's
Uh,
entirely possible, but this is a good segue into my fourth
okay,
pick, which is
okay,
definitely
okay.
a song that I've talked about on this podcast before, possibly for my disdain for it, just in general. But it's "In the Summertime" by Mungo Jerry, which
Yes, you
is a
have.
song. This is a song that I just hate, and it's a song that to me feels like it's like if like chimpanzees overrided like a campground and they started accidentally playing music and they started banging on like pots and pans or
Yeah.
accidentally like blowing into a jug. This song is like this song is like the end result.
So if you gave
This
an
song
infinite number of monkeys an infinite number of jugs, they would eventually write "In the
they would
Summertime."
also call themselves Mungo Jerry, which is just an awful name for a band, and that is what your decision. Like people make, what are the names of the bands that we've heard that we've talked about today? XTC, Queen, uh, Violent Femmes, the White Stripes, Dead or Alive, Springsteen, uh,
Vampire
Vampire Weekend,
Weekend.
and Mungo Jerry. And there is just something. He looks like Wolverine got a perm.
He does.
He looks like he got zapped by Storm, and then like Wolverine
I
Logan was
just
just
like a guy who does not quit his job at the car wash to be famous. He seems like he didn't.
this is a song that I think is so vapid and stupid. I think the lyrics are so dumb, and it's just like this gorilla sounding, and it's just like I can't stand it. And I think it's a song that, like, it's like a Christmas playlist that comes up every summer. Some
Uh-huh.
moron is going to put this on their summertime playlist because the word "summertime" is in it. It's like,
Yeah.
Richard, I know that you and your wife Sarah were just experts at crafting these little holiday Christmas playlists. And whenever you guys would send out CDs of them, I was always so thrilled because they would be so varied and different. This song would be as if you had put the same song on every playlist year
Right.
after year without fail. And I think this song just there's a part in the song too, and I'm sure this is part of my rant from, I don't know, 212 episodes ago, where they just go da 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 boo doo doo, like they just stop singing. They
Just
just start.
scat.
He
They
just
just gave
starts
up on you.
scatting, and he just like it's such a dumb song that even he doesn't want to sing about it anymore. And if the song just completely faded away from human history, great, great. Bye bye
Uh,
song. I do not need to hear it. I don't need to hear it in the summer. I don't need to hear it in the fall or autumn, whatever you want to call it. Springtime, winter, name a solstice. Neither of those two. I'm done.
You know the
Yeah.
song I thought you were gonna have on your list, and you may
Oh,
not even
please.
remember that this was a thing, but I
Mm.
used to get texts and Gmail chats. This was back when Gmail chats was still a thing for us.
My
Um,
precious time capsule. I'm waiting to hear.
about a coworker of yours who would constantly every day play the song "Brand New Key" by
Oh,
Melanie,
yes.
Oh,
and you would get so angry about it because she would play it at about two
I've
o'clock
got
in
a
the
brand
afternoon
new
every day,
girl.
and I would just get the
Yes.
G chats like, "She's playing it again," in all caps.
Uh, hold on.
that's funny.
I'm going to my G chat and see what I can find while we're wrapping this up.
I didn't know Mungo Jerry was British.
No, didn't he? They were?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're British. The guy was working in a as a like Timex watch factory when he wrote. He worked in a laboratory or something. It's crazy. Who'd have thunk that? Who'd have thunk
Huh,
that?
huh.
Okay, so that brought up something. Summer songs. Anything that says in the summertime or as a summer jam just gets so overplayed, and it feels like so associated with kind of the dumbness of summer, I think, that I think it's in danger of being a song that you kind of grow to hate afterwards. And I imagine this was probably a summer hit, the summer hit. But I think of almost every Black Eyed Peas song seems like it was
Right.
like a summer thing. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
Richard, here you go. I have a subject line from June 12th, 2007 that's just awful music.
Nice.
And on here, I suggested Endless Love and I've Had the Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing.
Uh-huh.
Uh, a song that I said Ladies Night or whatever that funky song is called. You know the one.
Right.
uh, and then you came back with a Bad Music CD I had made for last week. The Sign by Ace of Base, All That She Wants by Ace of Base, She's Like the Wind by Patrick Swayze, Sailing by Chris Cross, More by Andrea True Connection, Get Back Right to Where You Started From by Maxine Nightingale, I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder, Queen of Hearts by Juice Newton, Rock Me Gently by Andy Kim, Brand New Key by Melanie, You Make Me Feel Like Dancing by Leo Sora, and Don't Give Up on Us, Baby by David Soul. So
Wow.
brought the receipts.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. So here's the winners.
Me, September 4th, 2008, a text to you that just says, or an email to you that says JHC, brand new key.
Yes.
So, yes, it
One of my
was
favorite texts I've ever received from you. No doubt.
I think that's also an overtly sexual song too. That's inappropriate for the workplace.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
going to travel
it
back in
depends on
time
what you
to
think the
complain
key
about it.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. So the winners are XTC, Dear God by XTC, and Richard. I know that wasn't necessarily the job, the the task here, but you kind of skewering. That's your favorite band, I think, right?
Yeah, well, they're growing up in high school, they
Yeah,
absolutely were.
yeah. Throwing one of your idols on the sword there, in the summertime because yeah, that's a dumb song, and Blister in the Sun because yeah, and then the correct answer for number 4, we didn't start the fire,
Ooh.
um,
Oh,
because
I
I
don't
feel like
hear
it's a
that song
recurring.
very much anymore. I would that would be my only argument against it is it's so recognized as being kind of a shitty song. Even Billy Joel was like, "I don't really like this song, and I know I
Really?
have to play it sometimes." Yeah, he's like, "I don't really like the melody, and I was trying to do this with it, and it didn't really work." So, we're gonna agree to disagree on your choice,
Okay,
Jeff. But even
uh,
though my opinion means absolutely
I
diddly
think
over squat.
like after the rains in Africa, I think Gen Z thinks it's cool or something like that because I'll hear at my gym, they're all playing it, they're all kinda clapping around, and they'll look at me like, "This is an old song that you like?" And I'm like,
Mm.
"Ah!
Hey, Jeff, you're old. You'll like this song.
You're old." You're like, "I liked
Yeah,
it when it was called It's the End of the World as We Know It." Like, that's
How
what I
about
like.
how about for our full thoughts on We Didn't Start the Fire and It's the End of the World as You Know It by
Go to
REM. Go listen to our back-to-back podcasts from about 4 years ago on those 2 episodes. 2
Oh,
of my
we're looping.
favorites. Yeah.
We're looping. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. The
We're
world
looping.
comes back on itself. That's why it
Well,
spins around, this world.
Yeah.
a record.
But did I show you a picture of Pete George today, or that guy Pete Burns? What's his name?
Pete
Uh,
Best. You
Pete
show me a
Best.
picture of Pete Best. I'd like
Pete,
to see
this
that.
is, guys. Just so you know, um, this is what Pete Best looks like today.
Oh,
I'm
Another
sorry.
Madonna photo.
Another one.
that one, Jeff, is-
Okay, this has been. Oh, and let me do the thing. This has been the
a song I never get tired of hearing.
of songs that Michael likes that aren't very good that Richard does it. I am always Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.
And fading. And fail. Oh. Well, ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da.